Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're very excited to have you joining us on a beautiful morning, certainly a sunny morning here in Charlottesville, Virginia. This is always a good time, as I like to say, to grab your café con leche, to get into your cubicle or your comfy spot, your office, whatever
cushy
is most
sofa
comfortable.
there.
Yeah, whatever is most comfortable for you to be in a position to watch.
Just make sure you have some air conditioning in that room. That's
air conditioning is probably a must. Probably a must today. Anywhere that you can be comfortable and sit down and watch an awesome show of Today.
If you're having a hot café con leche, you need that air conditioning.
Yeah, I guess you can have an iced café con leche.
No, that's true. That's
once
true.
the summer comes. Yeah. What would that be? I'm not sure there is a automatic.
Café con leche con hielo.
Con hielo. Café con leche con hielo. And that'll do the trick.
That's right.
That'll do the trick. Because I know Italy has the granita, but I'm not sure there's an automatic Spanish equivalent of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that always works as well. We're going to be joined shortly on the show by Jessica Lino. She's the co-owner of FARMacy Café, food truck and catering. Always love being here on the I Love CVille Network set with you.
Thank you.
As always, we're presented by Emergent Financial Services, and we are powered by our friends at Castle Hill Cider. Beautiful time to go up there, the breeze.
Oh, yes.
I've been up there recently. It's funny, every time once you get up to that area, the breeze just always makes it cooler.
Yeah.
Like it's just always there.
Just being up on the hill.
Just being up on the hill gives you a nice cool spot to enjoy some cider. They now have the sage apple crumble that we love is now a sage apple crumble ice cream.
Ice cream, I know, I heard.
I
heard it's very good too. I was speaking to a couple of people that were up there and they said it's just stupendous.
Yeah, I almost had it, but then I was seduced by the raspberry sage lemon tart. So I said, lemon tart, I have no choice.
Of course.
But to go for that one. Of course, we're always powered by our friends at Aqua CVille Hand Car Wash at the gym CVille. You can, after you've eaten your sage apple crumble ice cream, you can go to the gym.
That's right.
And go meet with Justin and Jean and improve yourself in mind, body, and spirit.
That's right.
At the gym CVille. And of course, by our friends Miguel and Chip at Serious Craddock Insurance, by GBS Financial Services, our friend Johan Torres. And as always, we are partnering with Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia.
You know, just quickly, the other day I was listening on the radio and they were talking about insurance, and they actually even have insurance for laughter. And I'm saying, what is that? And so there are comedians that literally have called laughter insurance, and it's real, right? And basically what it is just in case they're in the audience and somebody dies because they're laughing too much and they get sued, they have it, yes.
Oh my
Of course, they were saying that there aren't too many comedians out there that really need it anymore, but this was a show that I was listening to, but it was an insurance show. It was like, isn't that amazing? I mean, the amount, the type of insurances they would tell me they have these days is just unbelievable. It's just because you're afraid to get sued.
You never
like,
know as a
just
small business what you might need.
Exactly.
I never would have thought.
Me neither.
I mean, I've heard, you always joke, like, you die of laughter, but I didn't realize it was a literal protection
exactly.
Just to avoid, just in case you're so funny. Because you probably got to be one funny comedian
I would assume it's cheap insurance, I mean, because the chance of that happening is going to be pretty small.
I would imagine. But
still.
You would hope. You would hope, not that the comedians out there being like $10,000. In case I'm not that funny.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm excited to just go ahead and get started.
Yeah, Jessica's too.
Absolutely.
She just can't wait. I can see her jumping out of that seat there.
There we go. So we are really excited to welcome to the show today Jessica Lino. She is the co-owner of FARMacy Café, food truck, and catering. Jessica, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Hi, good morning.
It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. I've been to FARMacy. I remember it from, we were talking before the show, I remember it from a CIC board retreat that you guys were there. Fantastic food. And also
Thank
as well,
you.
I went recently with Lily DeRay, also known as Lily Graciela, for those of you who listen to her music on Spotify. Went there and I had the naan with the chorizo, which was just so good in there. So I was very excited when it said that you were coming on. So I mean, for those who don't know you, like I do, tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you started FARMacy along with Davino.
So FARMacy has a little bit of a history. It's been a cool, ever-changing road. I started it on my own in 2014 after attending a CIC workshop. And I actually didn't have FARMacy completely conceptualized before the workshop, so they were really helpful in making it into a physical entity. So that was really awesome. And then, so I made it into a superfood smoothie, organic smoothie delivery service, and did the farmer's market and stuff, and got it going, and then ended up with my now husband, Gabino. At the time, we just were like, okay, what can we do? He's a chef in restaurants. I was working in restaurants, waitressing, and so we both had the front and back of the house experience. And then a friend of mine was selling a food truck on Facebook, and we thought, oh shoot, maybe we take my nutritional background, and because I went to nutrition school, and your Mexican culture and chef expertise, and we put it together and see what we can do. And so that's what we did. Spent a year remodeling the food truck and got it going. And so it just kind of morphed FARMacy into doing organic superfood Mexican fusion.
Wow, that's amazing.
Awesome. That is awesome. That's a very neat story. So I'm curious, the FARMacy, FARM, how'd that name come about?
So when I was in nutrition school, I really resonated with the food is medicine, and medicine is food from Hippocrates. So that kind of, to me, was like, oh, I could use that. And, I like farm to table and doing organic and local ingredients, so using the farmers. So that's kind of where that came from.
I like that a lot, because, as someone who we love, just organic farm to table food. It's true, the best, the original medicine.
Right.
You would do herbs.
That's right.
Absolutely. Your abuelito and abuelita living in Spain.
Yeah.
Where they came from, you would use herbs, food. That was your medicine. You didn't have access in the 1920s to all the pills and stuff we have today. You would use food.
Right. Well, and growing up, I was raised homeopathic. So you get sick, you just fix it with the herbs, and so that's So it was really easy for me to kind of segue into making.
Yeah, that's exactly what it used to be. There used to be, I remember in Spain, there used to be a store, and you walked in the store, and all herbs. And so you'd go in and you tell them what you feel, and they'd find the right herbs, and then they give it to you. Either make a tea or put it on your food, whatever, depending on the herbs. So, and it's true. And you think about so many medicines that derive really from herbs. Of course, they eventually change it because there's not enough herbs. But no, it's to be able to do that, to take that food from the farm, which is nutritional, and then bring it to the table right then and there. And there's a lot of local farms around here and organic farms, isn't that correct?
Yeah, I don't do as much as I would like because finances are a bit hard.
Yeah.
So I've more been trying to focus on if I can at least do like 85% of the ingredients that we use is organic. It's not as much local as I would want, but like all our meat is local. I do have some other local vendors that we use. It's just kind of tricky. Even just scheduling deliveries is a challenge. Yeah. So we do the best we can, but my focus is like, okay, well, at least if I can do 85% of it organic, that to me is, then I know they're not getting the pesticides and artificial ingredients and preservatives and, all the things, then I feel better knowing what we're putting out. And then I try to focus on adding superfoods in there as well, as many places as I can, because I know they're so nutrient dense, and that way people are getting more vitamins and minerals than they need. Which is why we came up with Nourish Your Body and Satisfy Your Cravings, because after you eat it, you kind of crave it. And you're like, I had somebody text me the other day. They're like, "Are you open today? I'm kind of craving FARMacy." And I was like, "Sorry, it's our one day off, but please come." So
exactly. No, it is. I love the combination. Is really the flavors are just so incredible there. I think that's one of the great things about it, because you've taken these superfoods and this food that is good for you, but between your skills, Gabino's skills as a chef.
Right. He does all the seasoning and what, I throw my bits in there, but
that Mexican fusion is just an amazing touch.
He's a great chef. I'm very grateful to have our dynamic duo. It just works.
And that's what's important, right? Because if you tell people we just got superfoods or whatever, they might say, well, I'm not really sure I want that, right? But when you blend it in, when the flavors are there,
right,
and then you can add the superfoods on top of that, wow! That's just fantastic.
Right.
So are the dishes kind of more traditional Mexican dishes, or are they kind of creations of Gabino?
Some. We have some that, they're Mexican inspired, and then I've always feel the need to throw in extra. I'm the complicated one, and it's okay. We've both accepted it. The FARMacy is just complicated. You look at the menu and you're like, wow, that's a lot to read, but people need to know what they are getting.
Exactly.
So so it has Mexican inspiration. We have a few that are traditional, like our Mexican tacos. They're on homemade corn tortillas with organic masa, and then the meat, the cilantro, the onion, the lime. So just as you would have it in Mexico. But the rest are kind of fusions of things, like the super non taco. That's our best seller. It's an al pastor pork. It's not our chorizo, but the chorizo is fantastic also.
Yes.
Both are from...
Maybe that day was special because there was maybe it was like a special.
Oh, okay,
on that
yeah.
one.
Maybe.
It was good. And just what I loved was the combination of the naan.
The naan is
with
so good.
it.
I love it. Yeah, agreed. I mean, you could put anything on naan, especially if it's garlic naan.
Yep.
See, I would say that anything with chorizo goes good.
Yes, I agree with that too.
That is true. That is true.
It is a very flavorful sausage, isn't it? I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I think I almost got the al pastor. I was like,
Yeah.
just because I've heard that that's a really popular one. Mm-hmm. So I love the idea. I wanted to circle back a little bit to the CIC course, because I think it's a story we've heard with several of our
That's
guests who have gone through the program, that sometimes you go in, I mean, we've had guests, Central Virginia Swim Services, they went in with a completely different business and then popped out with a swimming business. So many people go through that. What was it like going through that and sort of refining and coming out with FARMacy?
It was really interesting because I had no idea. I just went to a birthday party and met a lady that happened to work at CIC, Waverly, and she also went to the same nutrition school that I went to. So we kind of hit it off, and I told her I want to do something to help people learn how to eat better, but I don't know what to do. And so that's when she suggested I check out CIC. So I did, and so I had like kind of this base idea, but I really had no idea what I wanted to do.
Right.
And they were awesome with kind of helping me hone in on what it is that I could do, or like what are some options, where do I lean. I had already made smoothies myself, so that's why we kind of were like, okay, well, let's go this route. And then learning the business side of things, I knew nothing about like cash flow analysis and break even projections and stuff like that. So they were really great in that, and also even just the legalities, getting what do you need? Get a business license, go, the Department of Agriculture, or get, all of the things that a regular citizen is like, I don't know how to do that. What do you like? What do I need? What I don't need? So they were really great in doing that, but as well as supporting the entrepreneurs. Like I felt very supported, and sometimes it was really frustrating. I think there was a class or two that like my brain was just on overload. It was so much, I kind of teared up a little, like, this is overwhelming. I don't know, because you just feel like you don't know enough, or like you can't, but they're very kind and supportive and helped us get through it. It's funny because I did CIC once with the smoothies, and then when Gabino and I got together, I thought, well, shoot, he's never been through CIC. Let's take it again, because now we've changed the business model completely. Yes. And I don't know, there's different dynamics now. We've got the health department and not the Department of Agriculture, so it's a little different. So we took it again together. They let us do it together, and that was really cool. So I think it was good for him to see the business side and not just the cooking side,
Yep.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, right? I mean, small businesses, right? I mean, most of the time it's an entrepreneur, and he's got this fantastic idea, all right? And, they say, okay, here's my idea. It's a great idea, and I want to create a business, and they forget that there's a whole bunch of things on the other side of the business, which are, the cash flow analysis, balance sheets, et cetera. It's like, and even licenses, like, what is all that? I mean, do I really need all that stuff? I mean, do I really keep numbers? I mean, accounts, et cetera. So it's a great place because they put it all together for you. They really help you out. And then they realize that, we all need help one way or the other. I mean, I'm the other way. I'm a numbers guy. The idea of just creating something, it's just not there, right? But the numbers, you give me a number and I can figure things out. But, you know, if anything else, it's like, uh-oh.
Is that it? Well, the marketing, the business licenses.
Exactly. Well, that.
You don't, I think the interesting thing is sometimes as an entrepreneur, when you first start, you don't know what you don't know.
Correct.
You don't know what's out there that the state and the local government will say, you should have known this,
Right.
you needed to know this. And you say, but I didn't know where to look.
Right.
And they kind of help you through that, but by sort of walking you through the steps of starting the business and running it. So like, okay, at least you get that comfort level of saying, all right, at least now I know what I need to do.
Yes.
And I just have to go out and do it.
Yeah. Well, and they even had like one day where you could go and sit and you could talk to a lawyer and an insurance agent and an accountant and somebody else, and you could just ask them the questions you want. You had an hour to just kind of, hey, what do I need to know? What are the things I need to do, and who do I need to contact? So that was really helpful.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we got a lot of folks watching the show this morning and joining us. John Blair, John Fontaine, thanks for watching. Lucrecia Morales says, hola chitos. Hola Lucrecia.
Lucrecia de
Buenos
Sombreros.
Dias. Lucrecia de Sombreros.
Hola.
Buenos dias. Lucrecia, we got Elizabeth Urpí watching the show this morning. So a lot of folks joining us on this beautiful morning.
Gracias.
So, oh no, yeah, it's something we love. I always love the. I don't know, just comment to let us know what they're thinking. So, what's it like? I mean, just as a family business ourselves, I know we often get what's it like to be an entrepreneur? Questions from the audience like this. What's it like working as a family business with you and Davino now?
You know, it's got its great times and it's got its not so great times. But, you know, we've been together for a long time, and so we've learned each other. Even when we're in the heat of it and we're kind of frustrated and, you know, like something work-wise is like, meh, you know, like 5 minutes later we're like, sorry. And then you just keep moving, you know, because we love each other and we know that we create a good balance. But most of the time, I mean, I genuinely just like seeing each other. And so we have no problem with working together.
Yeah.
We have a 6-year-old son, and so sometimes, especially this summer when he's out of school, it's like, okay, what are we going to do with him? Come to work, and you know, it'll be like peel tomatillos, and you know, put him get to work.
I love it.
So yeah, we kind of just family do it together.
No, that's
awesome.
great. That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's good because you know he's part of the business, and they learn what it is you're doing and the hard work that you do, right?
Yep.
As opposed to like I'm sure the kids that grow up have no idea what their parents do for a living, and it's like, you know, they just go to work and they have a
money
good time,
comes
they're fun.
home somehow.
Yeah, exactly. But to see your parents labor through it, right? And then the interaction with people, I think that's a fantastic way to be able to
Thank
grow
you.
up.
Yeah, he says he wants to be a chef, so we'll see.
Okay.
He's like, all right, we'll just pass this down to you.
There you go.
That creative mind, he's got that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what was it like? Because I know, so originally you guys started off as catering food truck, because you bought the food truck. And now people can, of course, you're at the Toad Building. So what was it like to do the transition from food truck catering to an actual brick and mortar location where people can come, get lunch?
It's good. It's so exciting. You know, we went through the construction process with code and they let us personalize the kitchen and build it out. And I got to design the front of the house. So that's all me. And I really enjoyed it because there's a part of my artistic side that creates. That was very satisfying to finally see manifest. But it's been good. You know, I mean, it was an awful time to open. We opened in January, which was like the day of that giant snowstorm. It was awful. But, you know, it was when construction had finished and we were so excited to get in there. We just didn't care it was January. But, you know, you live and learn lessons, and we weathered the storm.
I was there in January. I went. It didn't stop me.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so, you know, you weathered it, and then we got to spring and got to see it actually like what its potential. And it was like, it was really nice. It was nice to be able to expand the menu. The food truck is so small, so we can't do but so many things. And he and I have got so many ideas in our head that we've just been wanting to get out and couldn't. So it's been a really nice transition. We still do the food truck a lot. We don't have the staffing ability to do both at the same time.
Okay.
So that's been really frustrating because Gabino's the head chef, the head chef, the head chef. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he can't be in two places at once. But, you know, we'll figure it out. And, you know, we enjoy doing the food truck too because it's cool to get to go different places, see
places,
different
Exactly,
people.
exactly, yeah.
You know, beautiful Virginia place that we live. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
I love traveling around.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, exactly.
And
Once
what-
you wait for people to get introduced, because then people will meet you at the food truck. And be
Right.
like, I have to go downtown. 'cause
Yes.
they're not always going to be at this vineyard.
Right, I have it on the menu. You know, check out our downtown location.
Absolutely. You would ask.
No, I was going to
about-
say, so what are your hours and what is the day that you're closed at the Code building?
So right now, we've been struggling a little bit with hours. So I've been very grateful that our customers have been patient. Thank you. Dinner was a little bit too slow to keep open. We couldn't afford the labor. So right now we're just doing 10 to 3,
Okay.
Monday to Thursday. And then we're doing 10 to 2 on Fridays so that if we have a food truck event, we have enough time
Okay,
to
okay.
Get
That
close
was-
up and get there.
Gotcha.
So sometimes we'll be open on a Saturday, but most of the time we're doing food truck events on Saturdays. So it's a little tricky. We'd love to be open for dinner. It just hasn't been busy enough. I don't think there's enough people that even know we're there. So I think as time passes and exposure comes, thank you guys. This will
Of
help.
course. Of course.
I think, yeah, and I think that's
it'll
what
pick up.
happens. Yeah, I think that's what, I mean, and I mean, you would hope certainly that in the summer months where people are more willing to hang out in downtown, walk around, that would perk up. But that's what I was trying to figure out, when to use your truck. But obviously, yes, Fridays and Saturdays are the perfect timing, right? Because you can just go wherever there's an event, boom, that truck is there. And
Right.
same thing on Saturday. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
great.
And it's important for people to know, like, what small businesses are growing through. That, sometimes it's not easy to find staffing. And if someone's not open on an evening for dinner, doesn't mean that you don't want to serve dinner. It means you're getting there. You're
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah.
There's things that go into place. And it's awesome that the clientele is like, yeah, we understand. This is a part of the challenges of being a small business. And this is why you support small businesses like yours, so that you can then grow to that place where you're like, guess what? Dinner.
We're
That's right, yeah.
open.
Here it is.
And word of mouth is so great, right? Because I mean, it's inside the Code building, right? So it's not like it's.
Well, it's in the courtyard.
Oh, it's in the courtyard.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you can.
There's that
okay.
little, how the Code building kind of like separates. There's those steps.
Yes,
between the two
yes,
sides.
yes.
Right on the left side there.
Okay.
It's in the
okay.
white
Yeah.
building, but
Gotcha.
it's still part of Code.
Gotcha. All right. So yeah, I mean, so it's visible, and I think little by little, when the more people get to know FARMacy,
Yep.
and little by little, you say, hey, I'd love to go
Well,
there for
and
dinner. But-
with the nicer weather, everyone who goes in and buys lunch and then starts eating it right in that courtyard, the smell is going to be like, wait a second, well, where'd they get that?
Right.
exactly.
Where'd you get that? It's all right here. At this place right here.
That smell can get you.
Oh yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm curious. What are some of the new dishes? 'Cause I know you said you and Davina love to be creative and things. What are some of the new dishes you've been able to do, or that people can look forward to at FARMacy now that you're in the cafe part?
Oh man, we've like tripled our menu. It's just there's things. I mean, shoot, we couldn't do salads on the food truck because it's so hot, and the lettuce doesn't like being hot.
That's right.
So salads are very popular. Of course, we've got tacos, burritos, quesadillas. We've tried some things like we made sopes a few weeks ago, and those were really good. I'm new to that as the gringa, and so I really appreciated it and was like, "Ooh, let's make sopes." And we made empanadas, and those were really good. So just trying new things. Today is our first day. We're going to do chimichanga. So I
Chimichanga.
posted that last night.
Classic.
Yeah, just playing around with things. It's nice having the kitchen space to be able to let our creative juices flow. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, and there's the enjoyment as a customer, like to be able to go back and see new things and be like, oh, that's new. I've never had that before.
Yeah. Well, and I tried to do, when we were conceptualizing the menu, a wide enough variety of things so that, it would appeal to everybody. Like right now we have a tofu mushroom curry taco. So, the vegans can have
Sure.
food, and the meat lovers can have food, and the tortillas are gluten-free. So then if you're gluten-free, you can have food. So it doesn't have to be just like only this.
Exactly.
And we have kids menu. So, tried to think of a little bit of everything because
Yeah, no.
everybody's different.
It is.
No,
it
absolutely,
is.
yeah. And in today's world, that's even more so, right? I mean, so many people have learned that they're either gluten intolerant or some other type of
Dairy
intolerance.
intolerant,
So as you approach a restaurant to be able to say, wow,
Yeah,
I
there
can
is
eat that.
something for me
In
here.
other words, yes. I mean,
Right,
the family can eat
right.
all this, but yes, I can also eat this, and therefore we can go. That's-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a certain nice quality to be able to go and not have to be like, oh, can I have this? But then you take out X, Y, and Z. Because in other words, now the dish has been designed with that in mind. Like the flavors, the combination of flavors is there, and it's natural. And the beautiful thing about corn tortilla is naturally gluten-free.
Gluten-free.
Yeah.
I mean, the flavors have been designed, and it is gluten-free. You don't have to be like, oh, now you're going to lose out because you took this out, which
Right.
was supposed to be in the dish.
Right. Yeah, like our vegan burrito, people love that, and I hardly ever have anybody substitute. It's just got a little bit of everything in it. It's enough.
Exactly. Now the combination of flavors is always key.
You have
Yeah.
you have the chef who knows what he's doing. He's putting all those flavors together, and if you start taking things apart, it's like you're building a house, and the guy says, "Well, I don't want that stud there, and I don't want this for support here." It's like, I'm not sure I can build this house for you. So same thing.
Right. It's a balance.
It is. Oh, that's fantastic. So, I mean, what's anything else new coming down the pipeline or that people should be excited about?
Everything, no.
Everything? No, yeah, no worries. No.
Everything's new.
Everything's
good.
I mean, with a triple-sized menu,
Yeah, I mean,
everything is.
just follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Check us out downtown, because we have lots of food truck events booked, so we're around.
Also, where can people find you, and also like where can they find where the food truck's going to be?
I try to make events on Facebook and Instagram ahead of time so that people can find us. I'm not always the best at it. You can always message me and remind me. There's just a lot of hats here that I
Of
wear.
course.
But yeah, so we're around. It's usually just Fridays and Saturdays though. And then of course at the downtown 222 West Main Street.
222 West Main Street.
Nice.
Very easy and super easy to find.
Oh, absolutely.
Find
Yeah.
You can't miss the Code Building.
That's
'cause
right.
It's really big right there at the end. And right to walk into that courtyard on your left, that's the white building, you're going to find FARMacy.
FARMacy.
So, and then your page on Facebook is just FARMacy FARMacy with an F, basically.
FARMacy
Cafe,
with an F.
food truck, and caterer. And from there, you can get to the website.
Yep.
You can get the events that will pop. Yep, they pop up. Oh, the pictures. Wow. You can see all the pictures.
Are you getting hungry? Is my
Thank
friend
you.
The special chimichanga is right there on the Facebook page. I'm like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So you can see all the pictures of the fantastic food. You can see when the events are. You can connect with on Instagram. See, I see one coming up this. Oh no, well you just had one at Peacock Hill.
Oh, this weekend we're still doing some of our neighborhoods. Doing the neighborhoods really helped us through the pandemic.
Yep.
And helped them get food and helped
And
us
helped you-
stay alive. So it was
Perfect
a
blend.
win-win.
That's
A
right.
perfect combination. And already a guest says, John Fontaine says he's looking forward to taking his family to eat some FARMacy.
Nice.
So thank
Thank
you,
you very
John.
much.
Jessica, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for
Nice.
coming on.
I need
Nice
to
meeting
go
you
there.
guys.
I mean,
We need
I
to
think
bring
I work
you
too
there.
hard.
We need
need
to
to
bring.
get out
Yeah, I
of the
know it's
office.
true.
Yeah.
I do take a couple more lunches than you.
I think so.
So
I
we'll
think
need to
so.
bring you there, and soon we'll have Gabino on.
Sounds
and
good.
And we'll do some like bilingual with him.
There you
There
are.
you go.
There
Yeah,
you
and
go.
I'll
Some
cook and
English
open.
experience. There you
He
go.
can come.
There you go. We'll do a mix and match.
That's right.
A mix and match. Thank you so
great.
much for joining.
Thank
us.
you,
Thank you
Jessica.
very much.
A pleasure.
Thank you.
So as we go ahead and do our swap-a-roo.
It's just
there's always
funny,
just- yeah.
Jessica was talking about the different hats, right? So, even us, I mean, I think of all different hats that we wear, the marketing, the analysis, the portfolio management, once in a while, the accounting hat, it's
Exactly.
like,
No, there's so much that goes into, it's really inspiring because there's so much that goes into being
Yeah.
a small business owner. And you see people like Jessica and Domino that they have this passion for what they do. They really love, I mean, it just shines. They really love what they do, and they're willing to put on all those other tough hats to make it possible.
Well, they have to really. I
Yeah.
mean, you have no choice but to wear all the hats. And
Yeah.
the beauty of it is that you can see that they went from, one specialty or one area that they really love to another one, right? So, I mean, and it was just outrageous how that worked out.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's amazing to see and awesome to see.
Yeah.
So you're just you're really
and interesting
excited for
too.
that.
They went from she went to CIC, and then all of a sudden she said, "Wait a minute,
Wait a second, I have an idea
We're a new
here."
business, so we should go back." And so this way, you understand also, and her husband understands also, what it entails to run a business. Because I think that's the beauty of CIC, is that to be able to go to a place like that and understand all the aspects of running a business. It's not just, I'm a chef and I'm going to buy a place and then cook. It's like, no, there's a lot more.
There's a lot you have to do to make that happen. Yeah. Well, and just the thing I love about CSE is it's not, here's your 16-week starter course to Dubai, I'll never see you again. It's no, come back, learn a little bit more. Connect with a counselor at CVSBDC, at the Small Business Development Center. If you need some capital, reach out to Catalina, meet a loan officer.
Exactly.
Connect there. If you need to come back and do the financial management program, maybe you're like, all right, I'm good. I need a little more help with the books, with the accounting and the receipt keeping. How do I learn how to do that part? Go back, do the financial management program. There's just so many steps along the way that they help you with, rather than like, here's your starter webinar.
Exactly.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It's no. We're here with you every step of the way to help make.
And I
you
remember they also
successful.
talked about networking, right? Because when
Yes.
you're there, you were I remember the round table where you were with other people that are in the same boat you are. You're learning. You're trying to figure out your business.
Exactly.
And
well, and
it's
think about
amazing
the
how-
benefit of being in. If you had been new to that class, being partnered up with Jessica and Davino, because they're learning. Again, some new ideas, right? But now you're getting the benefit of their experience. Because they're like, we've taken this before. We've got some business experience. Here's what we did that you probably shouldn't replicate. Here's what we did that really worked and you might want to think about.
Yeah.
So just imagine just the benefit of being in that class with them.
Yeah.
And being like, okay, now I from someone who's been through this, who's going through this, here's what it's like.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I was going to say. I mean, other people may have a particular idea and say, well, why don't you try this? Or why don't you market it this way? Because when we did it that way, it didn't work. And, but when we start marketing this way, it would work. And you say, wow, I never thought of that. I mean, so it really is a great place to go if you're starting a business. It's worth whatever the cost is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. They are the backbone, as Kevin Higgins has said in our comment section in the past. They're the backbone.
They really are.
Of the economy.
They really are. Yeah. Speaking of which,
I see what I did there. I thought that was one of my better.
Well, speaking of backbone, I mean, it's that's the one area where it really becomes challenging, and obviously, I know you talked a little bit about on Tuesday. And I was just literally reading a couple of articles the last couple of days, and I think everybody now has kind of pinpointed to the fact that we are most likely in a recession because we've had back-to-back quarters of negative GDP, and even though it hasn't come out yet, the second quarter, the Atlanta, the model. The
90% certain that
a minus 2.1. That model's been very, very good.
That model would have to be
consistent.
way off
Exactly.
for the second quarter number to not resemble.
So I think without any doubt, and the other thing is, which a lot of people don't know, but when the yield curve inverts, and what does that mean? That means when, for example, when typically a short-term U.S. Treasury bond has an interest rate that is lower than a longer-term Treasury bond, which makes sense, right? In other words, if I'm going to borrow long, I'm going to charge you a lot higher rate.
In other words, if Xavier's lending me money, lending me $100, and I say, Xavier, I'll pay you back in 3 months, that's a lot less risky than me saying, Xavier, I'll pay you back in 10 years.
Exactly.
So Xavier's going to be like, if you're going to pay me back in 10 years, you got to pay me more interest.
Exactly, yeah. And so recently, though, so in the last 60 years, when the curve has inverted, and what does that mean? That means that and they usually look at the 2-year versus the 10-year. So when the yield of the 2-year is higher than the yield of the 10-year, they call that an inversion, right? And in the last 60 years...
It's kind of unnatural to what we just said. It means I'm so...
It costs more to borrow for 2 years than for 10 years.
Exactly. It means I'm so negative about things that I'm sitting there saying, the 10-year outlook now suddenly looks really much worse than 3 months.
Exactly. So in the last 60 years, when that's happened, it has pinpointed to a recession. And literally, we are there now, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think the 2 years at about 3% and the 10 years about 2.96.
Now, do you consider this, because I know sometimes you can get an inversion of the yield curve that is somewhat artificial in the sense of the Federal Reserve pushing up rates here can temporarily make it go out of whack. And then
but it's always the case, right? In other words, I mean, it's always been the case where the Federal Reserve is raising rates, right?
Oh, no, but what I'm saying is that do you consider this to be a legitimate sign of recession in line with others?
Let's put it this way. In this situation, considering that the yield curve is telling us this now, I mean, so it's been flat for, a few weeks, and it started to invert. The fact that we are now seeing that the recession numbers from the Atlanta Fed is negative, it's been pointed to the fact that most likely this is realistic, right? Mm-hmm. So and I know a lot of people get really upset when I know Powell said that he feels that the economy is still strong. And I tell people, I think he says that because I don't think we're ever going to have a Fed that's going to say things are really bad, they're really dire, because that just puts a lot more fear in the marketplace.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I think part of what we have to remember is part of Powell's job at this point, the Federal Reserve has such a presence that things they say affect the market. So part of his job as Federal Reserve, as much as no one I think would confuse us for Powell fans.
Fed fans.
Or Fed fans in general.
I can't remember any Fed.
I can't remember the last Fed chair that you were like, I really love this Fed chair. No one would confuse us with Fed fans, but part of their job at this point is essentially a PR kind of job.
That's right.
So you are never going to see a Federal Reserve chair really say things are really bad, this is awful, this is a disaster. He's always going to try to put a positive spin on things because he's trying to push the markets up and sort of stabilize things with his words, in a sense.
Yeah, no, without any doubt. And so I you have to take his words with a grain of salt and realize that we are, without any doubt, in a moment where the economies has slowed down, will continue to be somewhat slow. And I think a lot of it, and even though, again, some people said, I think inflation's peaked, the numbers are showing that are a little less, inflation's a little robust than it has been in the last 6 to 8 months. The issue isn't so much that it's peaked and it's not robust and it's not going to go up anymore, but when you're still looking at inflation at 5-6%, it is still
That's
very
the
painful.
issue. In other words, I think there's a little confusion sometimes that people see the inflation number and they see that 5% or 6% stabilize. In other words, every month is now 6%.
Yeah.
That's a very serious problem.
It is.
Because inflation is not the price level. Inflation is the increase in the price level. So if inflation sits at 6% every month, that means every month prices are still going up. At some point, if you want the prices to stabilize, which is really what the consumer needs. In other words, it doesn't help me much if prices go up 6% every single, year over year, every single month, inflation is 10%, and you're like, well, at least it's not continuing to go up. Well, I'm like, yeah, but what I pay goes up, right? So that's not particularly helpful to the consumer. What the consumer needs is the price level to stabilize. And price stabilization means inflation is at zero.
Exactly. And let's be honest, I mean, if you remember well, the Fed said they wanted an average rate of inflation at 2%. So
I think they got it answered.
So we were 9.6. So does that mean for the next 4 years we're going to have zero? Because that will average at 2%.
At 2%.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
That's what they would need. I think that 2% has been blown out the window.
Absolutely, way out the water.
At this point.
Yeah, so.
But I mean, the one thing that I do like to, sort of reinforce to people, and again, I'm not of the camp of, and I don't think either of us are of the camp of, oh yeah, recession is good because it will fix the inflation problem. The Larry Summers thing, like, oh yeah, this is fantastic, right? Recession is harmful. It hurts people, it hurts the consumer, it hurts workers, but it's sooner or later
it hurts
the jobs.
small businesses.
Hurts
that's
small
why,
businesses.
we were talking about the backbone. I mean, that's
exactly
where it hurts the most.
So recession is not a good thing, right? But now that it is here, it is a part of the business cycle.
Yeah.
Right. So now that it's come, that you will, I think, over time see things. It's the business cycle's way of saying things are out of whack. and now they are going to be the economy and is going to put them back into whack if we don't, try to mess it up.
Yeah. I think, again, you came out of 2020 at a time where literally the government shut down the economy, right? And you're sitting there and going, having seen what happened in 2020 with regard to, the basic GDP dropping like a rock, right? You said 2021, 2022, this should have been like booming years.
Should have been much.
And we're sitting here in early 2022 with a recession. So you say there's something going on out there that is beyond the economic cycle that we would have expected, right? And certainly there's been so much that has happened in the last year and a half that you scratch your head and say,
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, and it's fixable. And I think that's what I think most consumers sit back and say, some of this is not driven by an economic cycle, but it's driven by decisions that have been made. And so I think it frustrates, I think, both economists and people to sit there and realize that, we don't necessarily have to be where we are, And hopefully, there's enough pushback to make people understand and who's ever making these decisions that we don't need to be here. That in the end, although yes, governments love inflation because it devalues their debt, and the biggest debt in the world is governments. You have to take a step back and say, we can't be in a situation where the people that we worry about the most, or should worry about the most, are the people we hurt the most during inflation.
Yeah.
Right?
And unfortunately, we've seen that, I think, over the past few years, in the sense of both with the lockdowns, which we've talked about, in the sense of actively hurting people in order to achieve an effect. And not really thinking about what are the second, third order effects of having done this.
Exactly.
Right? In the sense of, you got your lockdowns, not thinking that second order effect of, well, wait a second, this is hurting the small business owner, but Lowe's and Home Depot and all these big corporations are loving this. Amazon is having a great time. Walmart's having a great time. And all the small businesses get hammered because you're not thinking of second order effects.
Exactly.
And now going forward to say, all right, inflation, sure, I'm sure the U.S. government is like, oh, this is fantastic. You get this nice inflation. All the debt is worth a lot less. And not thinking of those second order effects of, if you're on a fixed income budget, you're getting hammered.
Families, senior citizens. I mean, you think about a senior citizen. I mean, and even though senior citizens, most of them have Social Security, right? And that gets adjusted by inflation.
As we know,
it doesn't get adjusted by the same amount.
Exactly.
It's always less, right? So you're always trailing even more and more. And two, if you're getting a pension from any company, right? That pension doesn't rise.
Adjusted,
So if you've been on a pension for 10 years, that pension is worth a lot less today than it was 10 years ago. So you sit there and you go, the senior citizen doesn't have any other ability to increase its income in reality, right? So you're hurting them tremendously, right? In some cases where their rent's going up if they don't own a house, their rent's going up, their food's going up, and they're sitting there going, I need to go back to work. Now all of a sudden, a senior citizen has to go back to work just to make ends meet.
In an environment where work will probably not be quite as easy to find as it has been over the past year. If indeed now we're looking at recession, the days of more people, more job openings than people who are looking for a job have passed.
And that was the number this morning, right? U.S. jobless claims rose last week, meaning that more and more people are looking for unemployment benefits, right? That tells you that the economy is slowing down, people being laid off, they now need to look for unemployment benefits. So that's a bad sign, for the economy without any doubt.
It's a challenging sign.
Yeah. So the labor, which everybody has said, well, the labor has been just fantastic and it's growing. Well, the answer is it's you can see by the numbers that it is no longer the case, right? So the challenges are there. The economy is struggling. And again, and I've always said it, this concept that a little inflation is good, I've never understood who it's good for. I mean, we know who it's good for, but I mean in the sense of,
in terms of
I can't imagine any person, if I talk to any person in the street, say, would you rather have a 0% or 2% inflation? Say, well, 0%. Why would I want anything to go up in price? except for my salary, I hope, right? But, you know, and they make a big deal about the salary. The salary's going up 3 or 4%.
But if inflation's
at 9%, you're losing tremendous.
I think what a lot of times the key, the real number that is relevant to the average person is purchasing power,
Right.
which is basically it's how much food, rent, gas, how much does my salary buy? If inflation goes up, if the things you buy go up more than your salary has done up, your purchasing power has decreased. Doesn't matter that your salary went up, your purchasing power has decreased. And anytime you have inflation that is higher than 0%, you are now forcing your salary to go up. Your salary has to go up if you're even going to be able to maintain your purchasing power. And sometimes there's always a lag. Even if you have the nicest employer in the world, by the time your employer sees that inflation has gone up 3%, you've been paying 3% higher prices for a few months, and now he'll raise your salary.
Exactly. It's not like gas prices, that as soon as oil prices go up, gas prices go up, and as soon as gas prices go up, your salary goes up. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you even if you have the nicest small business employer, there's no way he's going to be able to constantly adjust inflation was up 3% this week. What's 3% of your salary? No one's going to make a week-to-week adjustment in your salary that you would go nuts if you try to do that. So you're always going to be hurt by it.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, small businesses struggle the most because they know that the first place that, you know, most small businesses, the first place that people stop shopping, whatever, is the small business, because they can no longer, their disposable income has dried up. And so it's like, well, listen, I'm just going to buy eggs, milk, you know, some bread, whatever it is to keep me alive, you know. And that's been the issue. But
a quick comment. Just wanted to give a shout out to Kevin Higgins. Really appreciate this comment. He says, "You both are financial experts, but you are really in the people business. You give us a lot of hope that we will all get through this mess." And we really appreciate that.
Thank you. And that's the truth. And that was actually interesting. Thank you, Kevin. You must have read my notes. But I guess the point here is that, you know, when you look at the economy, when you look at what's going on, the impact on people's budget is something that obviously we can't control. You know, we have lots of clients that come to us, say, help us with the budget, and we help them. And, you know, but it comes to a point where it's like, there's not so much, you know, if there's no more meat left on that bone, it's like, well, yeah, you can't cut that much more, right? You need to pay your mortgage, you need to pay your utility bills, you need to pay for food, et cetera. So it's hard to reduce those expenses, right? The other area where I think people worry about is their savings, right? And again, you know, it's an issue where you have to calm down, when we always do that, you got to calm down expectations. And when the markets were up, you know, 15, 20, 25%, we made it clear that you got to think of that as booking already into the future, the expected return, which we were hoping you'd get. And so if we're hoping you get somewhere between 7 and 10%, and the market's up 15, grab that 5 and say, okay, that's for the future. And grab that next 5, that's for the future. So when the market's down 10, 15, 20%, you say, you already booked 10%, 15%. So you're not down 20, you're only down 5 where we would have expected you to be at this time, or you're still up, depending. Because let's face it, I mean, for the 10 years ending, you know, 2019, right? Booming markets. So the markets were very, very kind to most people, right? So 401ks went up, IRAs went up. Yes, the markets are down, and you know, I have in front of me, you know, it's just one of those situations where everything is down. I mean, you look at bonds. I mean, bonds were supposed to protect you, and bonds are down like, you know, 4 or 5, in some cases 10%, right? You say, okay, if I'm down 4%, it's better than down 20, 25, 30, which in some cases the stock market, right? But what you were hoping is that it would pull you in a little bit more, in the sense of, you know, that the bond market may be down, you know, 1% or 0.5%, but not down 5. The good news is that the reason that happened is that when you start with interest rates close to 0, and there's no cushion. Now, you're not making any interest. So, of course, the minute interest rates start to go up, the value of the bonds come down. But now we're in a situation where if you got the 2-year at 3% and you got the 10-year at 3%, right, you now have a 3% cushion. So what does that mean? That if we had the same increase as we had last year going forward, you won't be down 5%, you'll probably be down 0, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe down 1%. So again, the good news is that you can now take your portfolio and realize that it's going to be harder for that portfolio to go down as much going forward, right, than it did in the last year. And again, most of the time, the markets know before anybody else that there's a recession. And here we have the recession. It's already here. It's been 6 months. The markets are down for the last 6 months, big time. Going forward, I think, can they go down a little bit more? Yes. Can we have a few years where the markets just aren't as robust as they were over the last 10 years or before that?
Yep.
Yes.
It can happen.
But at the same time, I think the worst, to a certain respect, may be behind us. And I don't have a crystal ball, but when you're down 20 to 25%, the chances are that, going forward, it gets even more difficult to go down that amount.
Exactly. There's a point at which there's just too much now opportunity for people to come in and buy that sort of buoys the market a little bit. And it doesn't mean there's not another 10%,
right.
50% to go.
Yeah.
But it just means we're already partway down that slope.
Yeah. And the beauty, most people that have 401ks, for example, IRAs, and there's money coming out of their payroll on a whether it bi-weekly or monthly basis, and then that money goes into the market, and that's the perfection, right? Because you're buying a little bit at these down levels, right? So sooner or later, the market's going to turn around, and you will have bought at these lower levels and watch that begin to grow dramatically. So again, patience, and I obviously just hope that decisions that are made going forward, but those that need to make decisions are a little more prudent. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. No, it will happen. And the reason we're in the people business, as Kevin said, because that's really what makes the economy.
Yeah,
the economy is billions of choices by 300 million people in the United States.
Correct.
Making their own individual decisions, making their own transactions, starting their own small businesses, patronizing small businesses. That's what creates these numbers that we look at as being the economy.
Yeah.
It's people in the end.
Yeah.
One more question from Kevin Higgins before we close. He asked, do you think the green effort with EV, electric vehicles, solar, renewables can initiate a great American rebound? So
the answer is always, I think the concept of green energy and where we're going is a positive event, right? But unfortunately, I think we are far away. In other words, the fact that our economy still runs on fossil fuels for about 80 or 85% of it, it is extremely difficult to shut down that energy source and say we're going to a clean energy source or a solar and wind, etc. And I'm not 100% convinced that those are the sources for the future. I think we will find other sources.
There's clean energy sources, but the clean energy sources that create the revolution, the Great American Rebound, may not necessarily be
those three.
The solar, wind, the things we're used to now.
Exactly. So I think the answer is yes, and it's coming, but it's not something we're going to see next year or the next 2 years. I mean, we're talking 10, 15 years.
I think it's a 10 to 15 year project that will be spurred by biotech, I think, a lot.
Absolutely.
That will be a significant part of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things that one of the beauties is as we move to an area where we sit back and say, all right, what's the right combination of a lot of different energy sources to get to where we want to go? That's when I think you'll really see a lot of new technologies pop up and say, hey, you hadn't thought of this.
Exactly.
And this is going to be a major source of clean energy.
Yeah. And I mean, you know me. I'm a big capitalist only from the sense of innovation, and I'm a strong believer that if somebody comes up with an energy source that is cheaper, right, but can create an enormous amount of profit for them, right, in a way, it'll happen, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I think computers have helped us enormously to find ways, right, to create different sources of energy, right? And I think little by little, computers become stronger, they become more powerful, and we're going to find something. And I think it's, I'm not a fan of wind because If the wind stops blowing, you're not getting anything.
And wind does, a lot of fossil fuels go into the creation of the wind turbines
right, exactly.
themselves.
So I think there are other, and I've read about other sources of energy that we're almost there, and I think we're getting closer. And I think that's going to be the energy that's going to take us away from fossil fuels. But
I think that we've talked about it before. Between biotechnology, robotics, future sources of clean energy that we haven't even thought of yet, space mining, a lot of these things, I think there can be a huge impetus for long-term growth.
Yes.
10 to 15 years. Doesn't mean we're going to see it in this decade. We might have I think the challenge is long-term economic growth is based on technological innovation. That is the number one driver of long-term economic growth per capita. Obviously, if you're a growing country, if you have more people, you get more growth, right? But in terms of per person growth, it's technology that does long-term growth. That doesn't necessarily mean you can't have short-term, because an economic short-term is like within 10 years. Doesn't mean you can't have a decade, right, of struggles, of challenges, of growth that's subpar, and yet still be on the path to long-term growth. And I think that's the beautiful thing about technology and where we are, and the innovative spirit of America, is that we can sit here, right, and talk about how things might be tough over the next year plus, and still completely agree with Kevin, like, there is going to be between
without any doubt,
biotechnology and other things, there's going to be long-term growth on the horizon because of the innovative spirit.
Without any doubt.
America.
I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yeah. Just the timing is where there's a question mark.
It's a matter of patience, as we talked about a lot. So it's a great question, and I always appreciate our audience. They're just
absolutely
so thoughtful, and so that's that's always the other thing. Just be hopeful, because the number one driver of this economy is the American innovative spirit in small business owners and just the average everyday person, and that's still there. That'll be there no matter what kind of temporary recession or subpar decisions are being made at higher levels.
Yeah, I mean, the American spirit, there's nothing like it,
Exactly.
and it's what brings people to this country, is the ability, right, to be creative, to be innovative, and to be free and do what you really want to do.
Abuelito, abuelita.
Correct.
Nonna Pasquale.
Yeah.
To this country. Thanks, Papa, for
Thank
another
you.
wonderful discussion. Always love being here with you.
I felt like it was Monday morning.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit like our Monday morning conferences.
Those get a little more heated, which is good.
Which is good, because you share different ideas. Definitely love being here. Fantastic show today. Loved having Jessica on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just so much passion, love. We got to get you to the Pro Build.
Yeah,
we got to get you to FARMacy.
I have to get out a little more, I think. No
you do. Did some lunches. Did some lunches there. Next week, two fantastic guests. We're going to be joined first by Herbert's Wine Jelly, followed up by Brent Stubblefield from, I really like the name of this business, Join or Die Knives. So it's probably Join or Die, that little old Gadsden Flad from Benjamin Franklin with the little snake. The Join or Die Knives. So two fantastic small businesses coming on the show. Next week, always appreciate being here on the I Love CVille Network set.
Absolutely.
Judah Whittower behind the camera. It was Judah's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Judah.
To Judah.
1 day late, but it's okay.
Well, I did text him on time yesterday. And then
nobody told me. I would have texted him.
I'm sure he knew it was from all of us. I don't think he was sitting there saying, it's Xavier. Just text me. How come he didn't text me? And just always appreciate being here. Always appreciate being presented by Emergent Financial Services. Be powered by the Gym CVille, by Sirius Craddock Insurance, by Aqua CVille Hand Car Wash, by Castle Hill Cider, by GBS Financial Services, and by Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Thanks so much to our audience. Thanks, Kevin Higgins, for some great questions. Thank you, John Fontaine, for commenting about going to visit FARMacy. Be sure to do that. Thanks, everyone who was watching the show this morning. Always appreciate it. Don't hesitate to send us any comments, questions, entrepreneurs you'd like us to feature. We are always happy. There is no cost for people to come on and be interviewed by Today Mañana. Just always appreciate your participation in the show. We look forward to seeing you all next week. But until that time, hasta mañana.